Hi, I'm James Dill. I'll be giving a presentation on computer crimes and fraud for Business 501 Ethics Law and Social Responsibility, fall of 2016 for Dr. Frederick Green. Computer fraud is defined as the use of a computer to take or alter data or to gain unlawful use of computers or services and includes acts which one's computer program interferes with another computer, hindering its use, damaging data, or causing the other computer to crash. Two common types of such programs are worms and viruses. Both cause damage to computer systems through the commands written by their authors. Cybercrime is occurring on an unprecedented scale, growing larger every day as the internet expands to more users worldwide. Unparalleled amounts of money are being illegally siphoned off from businesses and individuals. Statistics from the FBI state that crime, including bank robbery, have been on the decline while cybercrimes are taking their place at an increasing rate. According to the latest statistics, cybercrime will cost businesses nearly $2.1 trillion by the year 2019, with North America experiencing close to 60% of the burden. Cybercrime, as it's commonly referred to, is a constant threat when using internet-connected technologies, and users must remain vigilant to protect themselves. Computer-related crime, referred to as cybercrime, can range from identity theft, credit card theft, ransomware, malware, email hacks, theft of intellectual property, and distributed denial of service attacks. Cybercrime occurs over national borders, making it difficult to investigate and prosecute. Offenders use advanced software and hardware systems, making it difficult to detect until it's too late. The criminals involved use large-scale networks of like-minded associates to carry out the attacks. The groups are motivated by many factors such as terrorism, financial gain, political motives, or for the thrill of getting away with it. They often work together in organized and geographically decentralized ways, making it even a more insidious threat. Cyber criminals are often protected by unscrupulous companies providing bulletproof hosting services. Bulletproof hosting services allow hackers to hide behind a protected wall without fear of retribution from law enforcement. A bulletproof hosting provider is a company that knowingly provides web or domain hosting or other related services to cyber criminals, intending to ignore complaints by turning a blind eye to the malevolent use of their services. The now infamous WikiLeaks website, responsible for numerous leaks of classified information, benefits from the use of a bulletproof host. The main servers of WikiLeaks are housed in a nuclear-proof bunker in Sweden, as well in different locations worldwide using cloud-based services. Most recently in the news was a distributed denial of service attack targeted at websites such as Netflix, Amazon, and Twitter, along with sites such as Reddit, Airbnb, and Spotify. The DDoS, as it's referred to, is an attack that overwhelms the servers of these websites. They send a huge volume of traffic to prevent the normal business operations. The servers of these companies are inundated with requests from an army of computers infected with malicious software, unaware to the owners, called a botnet. The attack made the websites extremely slow, shutting them down and impacting their customers. A quick web search on the topic shows how easily DDoS attacks can be purchased from a company's website for a small amount of money. Other serious crimes committed in the cyber world were by now infamous Edward Snowden, whose leaks to the NSA's critical documents about how the US and many of its allies were using information intercepted from its own citizens. Also of note was how the NSA was collecting text messages sent and received in the US. The NSA intercepts 200 million text messages every day worldwide through a program called Dishfire. The NSA uses these messages to extract the sender's and recipients' personal data such as location information, financial activity, and contact details. Edward Snowden is being sought by the U.S. to stand trial for acts of unauthorized communication of national defense information and willful communication of classified intelligence information to an unauthorized person. The U.S. has extradition warrants out on Snowden, but he remains a guest of Russia where he has been granted asylum. Identity theft is the assumption of a person's identity in order to obtain credit cards from banks and retailers, to steal money from existing accounts, rent apartments, or apply for loans. Identity theft continues to be a significant problem affecting millions of Americans. An estimated 17.6 million About 7% of U.S. residents 16 or older were victims of identity theft in 2014. 86% experienced misuse of an existing credit card or bank account. About 4% had their personal information activity stolen and used to open up a new account or other fraudulent activity. Ransomware is computer software that effectively renders a computer useless or blocks access to the user's data until a payment is received. Users are tricked into believing a virus has been detected on their computer and need to purchase software offered to fix it. Such messages are delivered through pop-up windows. Of particular concern regarding ransomware is the suicide of a young boy in Cheshire, England, who committed suicide after receiving an online threat to pay a sum of £100. Joseph Edwards received online spam messages purportedly from Cheshire police claiming that he had been visiting illegal websites on his computer and would have to pay a large sum of money to avoid officers taking action. The boy suffered from autism, believing that threat to be literal and didn't have the mental faculties to effectively handle such a threat. Malware is malicious computer software that interferes with normal computer functions or sends personal data about the user to unauthorized party over the internet. Common examples of malware include viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and spyware. Viruses, for example, can create havoc on a computer's hard drive by deleting files or directory information. Spyware can gather data from a user's system without the user even knowing it. This can include anything from web pages to a user visits to personal information such as credit card numbers. Email hacks are the illegal access to email in order to perpetuate further crime against individuals or groups. Of recent note is the email hack of the Democratic National Committee published on the WikiLeaks website. The emails expose inside information about the inner workings of Hillary Clinton's campaign for president. Law enforcement officials say they're confident Russia was behind the attacks, but it's still unclear whether Moscow was doing routine surveillance or actively looking to impact the U.S. presidential election. This is a great concern to our national security if Russia is behind the attacks, and if they came directly from President Vladimir Putin. Theft of intellectual property involves robbing people or companies of their ideas, inventions, and creative expressions, known as intellectual property, and includes everything from trade secrets and proprietary products and parts to movies, music, and software. Theft of intellectual property is a considerable problem for U.S. businesses, according to the IP Commission report. Hard drives are either duplicated on site or physically stolen by bribed employees. Employees are planted temporarily in companies, or permanent employees leave and illegally share proprietary information. Products are dissected, re-engineered, and sold without permission or payment of royalties. Digitized products are pirated and sold illegally. Phones are tapped for the purpose of obtaining trade secrets, and email accounts are compromised. Total losses from intellectual property theft are in the hundreds of billions of dollars per year. The exact figure is unknowable, but private and governmental studies tend to underestimate the impacts due to inadequacies in data or scope. The members of the Commission agree with the assessment by the Commander of the United States Cyber Command and Director of the National Security Agency, General Keith Alexander, that the ongoing theft of intellectual property is the greatest transfer of wealth in history. Phishing scams are designed to trick the user into believing that the website they are visiting is legitimate. The user will enter a username and password while criminals record the information, selling it on the internet or using it to steal banking or credit information. Phishing is conducted through email, instant messaging, search engines, and websites. Typically, it deceives victims in 3 quick stages. First, they are convinced that the message has come from a reputable source, for example, a technical support department of their internet banking service or Facebook account. Secondly, they are tricked into clicking a link within the message. Thirdly, this takes them to a spoof website which persuades them to reveal confidential data, for example, passwords. The Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1984 legislates against computer-related crimes and has been amended 8 times to stay abreast of changing technological advances. The CFAA is an important tool allowing prosecution of these computer-related crimes. Congress included in the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984 provisions to address the unauthorized access and use of computers and computer networks. The legislative history indicates that Congress intended these provisions to provide a clear statement of prescribed activity to the law enforcement community, those who own and operate computers, as well as those who may be tempted to commit crimes by unauthorized access. Congress did this by making it a felony to access classified information in a computer without authorization and making it a misdemeanor to access financial records or credit history stored in financial institutions or to trespass in a government computer. In 1992, the Computer Ethics Institute came up with some ethical guidelines, which makes sense. Thou shalt not use a computer to harm other people, shall not interfere with other people's computer work, shall not snoop around in other people's computer files, shall not use a computer to steal, shall not use a computer to bear false witness, shall not copy or use proprietary software for which you have not paid, shall not use other people's computer resources without authorization or proper compensation, should not appropriate other people's intellectual output, shall not think about the social consequences of the program you are writing or system you are designing, shall always use a computer in ways that ensure consideration and respect for your fellow humans. Prevention of computer fraud begins with end users protecting your identities while online. This includes the use of passwords and usernames that provide difficulty for hackers to acquire. Providing these hackers with easy access to your banking information is easily performed when using a public network and logging in using your credentials. Use up-to-date antivirus software, and the use of protective devices such as firewalls can prove to be an important step in preventing cybercrime. Businesses must remain vigilant in their attempts to thwart hackers and protect their customers' sensitive data. Governments must adopt proper laws and technologies to help combat the epidemic of crime infiltrating the internet and hurting both individuals, businesses, and institutions which govern our lives. Thank you very much, and that's the end of the presentation. Here are my references.